back to Click Video Magazine. It is Embargo Days.
Absolutely.
We love Embargo Days. We sit waiting for them for months and months and months, and then finally we can tell you about our new cameras.
And we get some new stuff to play with.
Absolutely.
It's wow.
And you know, EOS 30th anniversary this year. Here's our first big EOS announcements. 2 new SLRs, a new mirrorless, a new lens,
New viewfinder.
new remote control.
New remote control.
So yeah, these are the cool things we're going to talk about today. The new 77D, the 800D, the M6, which is quite an interesting name. We're going to talk about that in a second. The new remote control, the new 1855. I was expecting a little bit more as far as lenses are concerned, but we've got something interesting about this new 1850. Yeah, we'll talk about that now. Let's get straight into it. You're right at the very, very top end of consumer level, and I'm right at the very, very bottom end of enthusiast type of cameras. So yeah, 800D.
The thing that this means, the fact that you sitting in enthusiast and I'm sitting in consumer, the first thing right off the bat is durability. We got to admit that right off the bat.
Absolutely.
Okay? So now we've moved that off the table.
Okay, yeah. So the 77 or the double number model numbers have always been designed for a little bit more production. They're designed to work a little bit heavier.
I think firstly is if you do that, you can immediately see the differences.
Oh, absolutely.
One's got an LCD.
Correct.
So no LCD.
Yeah. Most important thing, they've both got 24 million pixels. They've both got kick-ass ISO up to about 25,000.
Yep.
You can expand that up to 51.
51 too.
They've both got 6 frames a second. They've both got 45-point autofocus, which for 6 frames a second is really, really good.
6 frames a second on an entry level.
Yeah.
That's just unheard of.
Absolutely, but also 45-point autofocus on an entry level. That's really cool.
That's very cool.
Big difference, obviously, is not only in design and durability, but video capability. So yeah, so they can both.
It's that other market, the one you love.
So they can both go up to full high def. They can both go up to 60 frames a second, but the 77 has that added advantage. It's got the built-in digital stabilizer, specifically designed for movies. That is really good. It's a 5-axis one. Works even better when you've got an optical stabilized lens as well. You've also got the double whammy headphone socket. So even though they've both got microphone sockets and they've both got great video capability, there's just that little bit of an edge on this.
Okay, so now I'm going to be that guy.
Okay, be that guy. Okay.
So now, why shouldn't I buy this instead of a ATD?
Well, the ATD
is a hell of a price difference.
Well, it's not a huge price difference, but first things first, ATD bigger physically. This is a very, 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 very small camera. Physically a little bit more durable. It has got 7 frames a second. There's not a hell of a lot to it. To all intents and purposes, they've both got flip-out screens. They've both got 24 million pixels. I would say the dynamic range on the ATD is better.
Good point.
Even though this is a new sensor, it's not the same generation as the ATD, which sort of came back on the back of the DX. So I would definitely say the ATD not only having a frame a second better, a better dynamic range, a wider dynamic range for movies, a little bit more latitudes that you can push and pull.
Is the ATD Digix 7? Or is it 6?
It's Digix 6 Plus.
Digix 6 Plus, so this is Digix 7.
This is Digix 7.
It's a little bit of it.
It's going to be quite an interesting thing to see how they pan out. But this is most certainly going to be as a stand with a kit lens with the 1855.
I've played with this a bit. It's a major step up from 1855 eyes.
Still a kit lens.
It's still a kit lens, but the step up is amazing. Where, let's be honest, kit lens, f8, that's where we both know they should go.
Always use at f8, especially the 1855. It loves f8.
Not so much.
Not so much?
Not so much.
A little bit sharper at the 3.5s and 5.6 ends as well?
I've shot it predominantly at f4 and it was beautiful.
Interesting.
And the video out of this, because of the STM motor, it's absolutely amazing.
Well, it's physically quite a lot smaller than its predecessor, which was one of the main cosmetic changes. Optically, as far as I don't know that they improved that much.
No,
but the autofocus was insane. This was smooth as silk.
This is very
quick.
But one of the things that we forgot to mention is, at time of the release, both of these have got through live with the fastest AF at this time.
Wow, okay, a little asterisk. As of 15th of February 2017,
So with this lens, you saw it.
Yeah.
The AF is just, it's instantaneous.
And the double whammy, they've both got dual pixel autofocus system. Now, for an entry-level camera, you didn't have that on the 750 or 760.
That was hybrid.
Dual pixel on the 800D is absolutely astonishing. The world loves our autofocus. The world loves our face tracking for video. It is absolutely astonishing. EOS M6. All right, so what's it got?
24 million pixels, it's got this.
Okay.
With the stabilizer from that.
Okay.
Yes.
So what's the video like?
Video is similar to 800.
Here's a trick question, flip out screen.
Yeah, it's a really good trick question. It is. So, very, very cool. Also 6 frames a second.
Okay.
Good addition to the range. So, I think with M6 we're seeing that Canon's definitely serious about mirrorless.
Yeah.
Where we're going with mirrorless.
Maybe the 6 is the way to go, and especially if it's got that in-camera stabilizer, which is really, really good, especially for holding it lens.
And that in-camera stabilizer works with most of the EFM lenses.
So why would I buy an M5?
Because it's got the headphone socket, extra video functionality.
Cool. Well, sure, that's pretty damn good. So some really good announcements. Our first EOS announcements for the year, and again, as we're excited. So that's it for the product section. We have one more other thing. I've got my mate Marlon Du Toit, who's a wildlife photographer of note. He is a big fan of the 400mm 2.8, and I threw him a little bit of a curveball with our 400mm f4. Now it's one of the most popular focal lengths in this country. We have 3 prime versions of that focal length. Unlike the 300mm where we've only got 2, 500mm we've only got 1, 600mm we've only got 1, 400mm we've got 3 options: the 5.6, the f4, and the 2.8. And the f4 is the new incarnation of the DO technology, which is absolutely and utterly radical. So I'm going to cut this off as we are now, get rid of him, and you'll see me again in 2 seconds with Marlon Du Toit. As promised, we're back with Click Video Mag. We're here with Marlon Du Toit. Thanks for joining us.
Absolute pleasure.
Marlon is a traditional wildlife photographer, and you like 400mm as a focal length.
Yes.
And he shoots a 400 2.8 all the time. So I thought, well, we've got the new 400 f4 DO Mark II, which is the new diffractive optic technology. We've had it for a couple of years, but this is a new evolution of it.
Yeah.
And because it's so much smaller, lighter, and more compact than the 2.8, and despite the fact that you've got the guns to handle a 6 kilo 2.8 monster, I thought I'd throw in with a little 3.5 kilo DO. So, first impressions out the box, is it as good? Is it as sharp?
Absolutely. I was very impressed with it. From a sharpness point of view, no doubt.
Yeah.
What blew me away around the beginning is the size of it.
Yeah.
There's no doubt. So I've been using both the 400-8, the Mark I version, for about 3 years, and lately the Mark II.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that alone is a very big difference.
There was a kilo drop there, yeah.
Absolutely. But then going, not only in weight, but just the size. I mean, this is so small. It almost feels, when you have it on your camera, it feels wrong. It doesn't quite make sense because of the size, and it's lightweight. And then once you start seeing the results from it, and the color, the true color that you get from it, the contrast, the 400 is a beautiful natural feel to it already. It's almost looks like it's gone through a production phase.
Sure.
Through the lens and the quality, and this is very similar in that. And I really loved just that element of it. The image quality that you get just straight out of camera is perfect and beautiful.
Good. 400mm is quite a popular focal length, and in Canon's lineup, we've got 2 300mm, we've got the f4, the 2.8, 500mm there's only one, 600mm there's only one, but in 400 I've got 3 options. Yeah. So there's a 400 5.6, which is tiny, lightweight, very, very well priced, great L series quality, doesn't have the stabilizer, so it's quite old. A lot of bird guys like that because you can throw yourself around the sky. Wildlife guys don't like it as much because 5.6 doesn't let them blur backgrounds as much.
Yes.
Then there's obviously the 400 2.8. The sports photographers love that, especially football, night games, that kind of story, because you're getting big focal length and you're getting 2.8.
Absolutely.
And then we threw this into the mix. And as I say, the first 400 DO was pretty much an experiment with the diffractive optic technology. And it was a great lens, but it wasn't perfect. And this is one of the biggest things with diffractive optics, because the lenses are actually etched, they tend to get a lot of flare. Yeah. So we moved this one for the Mark II, we moved the etched element or the diffractive element deeper into the lens. So flare was no longer an issue. Did you notice anything where flare was a big thing? But I mean, you guys shoot with the hood all the time, yeah?
I shoot with the hood all the time, but I also had it, I didn't have it for one shoot. So typically, I think if guys will test the lens, it might be for an outing, an afternoon, or a trip, but I had it for probably a good on 4 or 5 months in 3 or 4 different locations: Zambia, Zimbabwe, South Africa, different lit scenes, from backlit, everything you can imagine, as you'll see in the images. It got tested in everything, and not once did I feel at a point, hey man, I wish I had the lens that I was used to, and I was consistently happy and consistently getting the images that I wanted.
The gap between a 400 5.6, which is a sub 30,000 rand lens, and then the 400 2.8, which is well over $100,000. We've thrown this sort of in the middle. Not only is it exactly a stop either which direction, but the added bonus of this diffractive technology. And I think it's really, really awesome that we got somebody like you to get out there and throw it in the field for a couple of months. And again, the images speak for themselves. We really are blown away. Thanks very much. This is a hint of things to come. If you want to read more about it, you wrote a blog about this. Marlon works for Wild Eye. Check out Marlon's blog where he talks about the lens and the comparisons. But the images, man, geez, well done. Well, thanks very much, Marlon Du Toit, for joining us. It was great to see some really, really cool images. Interesting to see the big difference between a little 3.5 kilo versus the 6 kilo monster. He's not the kind of guy you can see as a big bloke to carry around the 6 kilo, but for me, I much prefer the lighter version. Anyway, well, that's it for the end of this Embargo Day issue of Click Video Mag. One last thing I do need to remind you about EOS Roadshow coming up in March and April. We're going to Joburg, a new venue at Gallagher Estate. We've got Durban, new venue at Olive Convention Centre. Cape Town, as always, Cape Town International Convention Centre. So check out canonmarketing.co.za if you haven't already registered. We want to see you there. We'll have all the new products on display. Can't wait to get out on the road.
Absolutely.
Anyway, thanks very much for watching. As always, hit the subscribe button, will you?